your dreams.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another, I was about to say Genshin. Welcome back to another Honkai Star Rail video. And today I'm going to talk about Herta. I'm going to do a guide on Herta. By the way, if you happen to like the video or if this video has helped you in any way, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It'd be greatly appreciated. So let's talk about Herta's role. She is a 4-star Eurodation character that deals cryo damage or ice damage. More specifically, AoE ice damage. The traces that you should prioritize is her skill, ultimate, talent, and normal attacks. Her skill one-time offer deals ice damage equal to 60% of Herta's attack to all enemies. If the enemy's HP percentage is 50% or higher, damage dealt to this target increases by 20%. This skill is going to be Herta's main source of damage. She will deal a lot more damage to enemies that have more health. Her ultimate, its magic, I added some magic, deals ice damage equal to 130% of Herta's attack to all enemies. Herta's talent, fine, I'll do it myself. When an ally's attack causes an enemy's HP percentage to fall to 50% or lower, Herta will launch a follow-up attack, dealing ice damage equal to 28% of Herta's attack to all enemies. So this talent is a pretty unique talent for Herta. Whenever your allies deal 50% or more to an enemy, Herta will jump in and deal AoE ice damage to all of the enemies. If you ever had an enemy that had like 1 HP left and all you had to do was just breathe on that enemy and they will die, Herta will basically get your back. This talent right here is probably one of Herta's strong points. She can basically finish off enemies that are barely alive, or if just half of their health is missing, she'll at least deal a little bit more damage. And if she is dealing with enemies that have ice as a weakness, she's basically slowly breaking their shield with this talent. So this talent and Herta's AoE is basically the only strengths that Herta has. Herta's weaknesses though is that she kind of gets outclassed by other Eurodation characters, and she doesn't really provide that much utility to the team. Serval, for instance, another free Eurodation character, just deals more damage than Herta, and Serval can at least add damage over time to enemies, which is a little bit more useful. And of course, there's also Himiko herself, who is a 5-star Eurodation character who just deals a lot more damage than poor little Herta. Herta herself might just be one of the weakest Eurodation characters, and she just gets outclassed by the other two. Also, Herta is kind of useless against single target bosses. At least Serval has a damage over time that can at least help with single target bosses. I've seen a few tier lists that tend to put Herta in either C or D tier. Regardless, I still use her. I think she's pretty useful in her own ways. Like, I've had enemies that have survived with like 1 HP, and Herta has basically helped with that. But when I am fighting a solo boss with Herta on the team, I basically just spam her basic attacks because her AoE isn't really going to do that much. Her talent is useless against bosses because you're not going to be getting the boss's HP to 50% that quickly, but it is useful against mobs. If you're thinking about putting Herta in a team comp, just make sure you put her away during solo boss fights because she really is useless against them. But if you know you're going to be dealing with mobs of enemies, then Herta, it will be a good choice. Speaking of team comps, she is a sub DPS, so you can basically slot her in almost anywhere. In the gameplay video, I am using Sela, Bronya, and Natasha, which really isn't the best, I know, but you know, I kind of like Herta, so that's why I'm using her. Also, since the team still is really new, there's really no way to find out the best team comps as of right now anyways. People still gotta level up characters and find out how they work and all that good stuff. But as of right now, I think one of Herta's best teams is pairing her with Himiko, who would be the main DPS, Ting-Yong, who is the support, and Natasha, who is the healer. I've been hearing that Ting-Yong is basically like the Bennett of this game. She basically increases the attack of her allies, and her ultimate skill basically regenerates 50 energy for a target ally and increases their damage. That does sound pretty broken. I kind of wish I had this sexy fox lady. Himiko herself obviously just deals a shit ton of damage, AoE, and then Natasha is just the heal slut. Now as for Lightcones for Herta, you can either equip the Night on the Milky Way. For every enemy on the field, increases the wearer's attack by 8% up to 5 times. When an enemy is inflicted with weakness break, the wearer's damage increases by 24% for 1 turn. So the more enemies you're dealing with Herta, the more damage Herta will deal with this light cone. And a 4-star light cone that you can equip on Herta is the Birth of the Self. Increases damage dealt by the wearer's follow-up attacks by 24%. If the current HP of the target enemy is below 50% of their max HP, increases damage dealt by the follow-up attacks by an extra 16%. So this light cone basically negates the effects of one of Herta's passive, the one that basically deals more damage if the enemy has more HP. With this light cone, Herta will deal more damage if the enemy has less HP. Now, as for the best relics for Herta, keep in mind that we are still like in the beginning phase of the game, so don't bother about relics until you get to the end game of Honkai Star Rail. So a good set for Herta will be the 4-piece of the Hunter of Glacial Fours. The 2-piece set increases ice damage by 10%, and the 4-piece set, after the wearer unleashes their ultimate, their crit damage increases by 25% for 2 turns. And I forgot to mention the main stats that you want. So the main stats that you'll want on the body is crit, foot on the attack, the universal orb is ice damage, and I think it's called the rope. It can either be ER or attack percent. If you're struggling to get the 4-piece set, hopefully you can get a decent 2-piece set, and the other 2-piece set could be the Celestial Differentiator. The 2-piece set basically increases the wearer's crit rate by 8%. When the wearer's current crit rate reaches 80% or higher, the wearer's base attack and skill damage increases by 20%. Alright, so let's talk about the Eidolons for Herta real quick. The Eidolons are basically the constellations. So her E1 is if the enemy's HP percentage is at 50% or less, Herta's basic attack deals additional ice damage equal to 40% of Herta's attack. So her basic attacks will deal more damage if the enemy's HP is 50% or lower. At E2, whenever her talent is triggered, this character's crit rate will increase by 3%. This effect can be stacked up to 5 times. At E4, whenever her talent is triggered, her damage will increase by 10%. And at E6, whenever she uses her ultimate, this character's attack increases by 25% for 1 turn. So her E6 isn't really all that bad. I think E4 is one of her best Eidolons in my opinion, since it does make her talent even more useful. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you find this video helpful or if you like this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye now. Come again soon.